Hey y'all, hope you had a good holiday. I'm still recovering from the sugar highs that I got. I'm trying to slowly wean myself back off of them. Anyway, I wanted to hop on here today and talk to y'all about different diets, top 5 diets that I've seen, noticed trending on the internet, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I wanted to talk about them, talk about where they originated from or why they were developed. Talk about what's good about them, what's bad about them, the foods that are included, and the foods to avoid. I wanted to kind of give you this breakdown so you can figure out if these are for you, if they're not for you. There are a lot of similarities amongst these diets, which you'll notice and we'll talk about at the end. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with the ketogenic diet or the keto diet. Originally, this diet was created to help epileptics. Epileptics that were not responsive to medications. Medications didn't work. They would go on this diet and they noticed that their seizures lessened, or the frequency decreased, or they didn't have any at all. The diet is based on our bodies going into ketosis, which is when the body uses ketones for fuel instead of sugar. Ketones are actually a byproduct of fat metabolism, which occurs whenever we are starving or we restrict our carbohydrates or we exercise excessively. For the body to reach this ketotic state, our calorie intake must be limited, the calorie intake must be limited and comprised of 80% fat. So we're taking less calories and a good amount of fat. And then the remaining calories, the other 20%, are come from low carb vegetables and protein. So you're eating a lot of fat. Once ketosis begins, once you get into this ketotic state, your insulin levels drop, which causes the pancreas to start producing glucagon. And the amount of glucagon determines the rate at which the ketones or the energy is produced and sends the body into a fat burning mode. Usually this is maintained for extended periods of time, but as you can imagine, it may be difficult because we all like our cookies or chips or potatoes. But each meal has to be carefully measured, including the fluids. You have to include a daily multivitamin and multimineral to make up for any nutrients that you're missing in your foods. Potential side effects of this diet include dehydration, constipation, vomiting, high cholesterol, kidney stones, behavior changes, pancreatitis, and vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Foods that are included on this diet are low-carb vegetables like asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, celery, cucumbers, green beans, those sorts of vegetables. Foods that are included that are continued. So low-carb fruits like avocado, but you didn't know avocado was a fruit. Blackberries, tomatoes, rhubarb, star fruit, raspberries, strawberries, and lemon, which I honestly don't think I've ever had rhubarb before, but other foods that are included are meat, eggs, poultry, fish, nuts, and eggs, and healthy healthy oils. Foods that are avoided on this diet are high carb vegetables like sweet potatoes, butternut squash, white potatoes, high carb fruits like bananas, apples, grapes. Me personally, I like my apples, bananas, and grapes. Grains are avoided, beans are avoided, and obviously sugar and processed foods are avoided. Pros for this particular diet They may prevent or lessen the frequency of seizures. It does restrict sugar intake, which is a pro, but coming off of the sugar is a little bit difficult. And you do see quick weight loss in many cases. Cons to this diet. So when your body starts going into this ketotic or trying to go into this ketotic state, you could be extremely fatigued for the first couple of weeks. You may have bad breath, have a metallic taste in your mouth. It is difficult to maintain for extended periods of time for a lot of people, and nutrient deficiencies are common because you do take out a large portion of fruits and vegetables where you get a lot of your vitamins and minerals. So we're going to hop on to the paleo train next. That's number 2, is the paleo diet. This diet was started with the belief that sticking to the food that the caveman ate, our caveman ancestors ate, would lead to optimal health. And the goal of the paleo approach was to eat foods that cavemen encountered millions of years ago. And this was before the cultivation of grains, beans, legumes, packaged foods, processed foods, way before packaged and processed foods. The guidelines for this diet include eating high amounts of healthy fats, much like the keto diet, including coconut oil, ghee, avocado, and olives. Vegetables, raw or cooked, are okay, and the primary source of carbohydrates the primary source of carbohydrates is vegetables. So it inadvertently makes it a low carb or a fairly low carb diet, similar to the keto diet. Animal proteins that are included in the diet are encouraged to be grass-fed, organic meats, and the fruits that are included are minimal because these were considered treats for the cavemen because they didn't plant a seed and wait for the seed to grow, for the trees and the plants and whatnot that produce the fruits that have the sugars in them. And an emphasis is placed on eating when you feel like you're really hungry. Now, a lot of us don't even know what that feeling is, so it'll be slightly difficult for us to recognize that. Foods that are included on the paleo diet include vegetables, meats, poultry, fish, eggs, fruits, and nuts. The pros to the paleo diet: it's a whole foods approach. If it comes from the ground, minimally processed. Most of the time it can be on paleo. It does encourage organic foods. I try to buy as many organic foods as I can, but it does get expensive at times. It is low in sodium and high in potassium. It's high in fiber. It does have healthy fats that contribute to optimal brain health. It is a diet that is a low glycemic load, which does help stabilize blood sugars and reduce cravings and reduce sugar binges. Cons to the paleo diet: it can be expensive if you do try to buy the grass-fed, organic, free-range, and whatnot. And it's not necessarily ideal for vegetarians and vegans since it does exclude beans and legumes. Number 3, intermittent fasting, which is, some people consider a diet, some people don't. I'm putting it in the diet list. So basically, intermittent fasting just limits the amount of hours per day that you eat food. So say you wake up at 7, you eat breakfast, and you're going to cut it off at 3 o'clock. So 7 to 3. Some people do a 12-hour fasting window. Some people do a 10-hour. Some do an 8-hour. It's just kind of whatever you're comfortable with. So the food we eat is broken down by enzymes in our gut and eventually ends up as molecules in our bloodstream. So carbohydrates, particularly sugars from white flour, white rice, they're quickly broken down and sent to our cells to use for energy. So if our cells don't use them all, they're stored in our fat cells. So sugar can only enter our cells with insulin, which is a hormone made in the pancreas. And insulin brings sugar into our fat cells and keeps it there. Between meals, when we don't snack, our insulin levels will go down, and those fat cells can then release the stored energy, the stored energy to be used as energy. So the thought that the longer we go without food, the more energy our fat cells can release. Therefore, more weight we lose. So we lose weight when our insulin levels go down. So the purpose of intermittent fasting is to let the insulin levels go down long enough that we burn off our fat. So you can include, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean meats when you are eating during your intermittent fast, and then you avoid all foods when you're fasting. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. You include whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and meats when you are eating, and when you're fasting, you avoid all foods. So the pros to this diet: rapid weight loss, it cleanses your body of metabolic waste and toxins, it enhances your mood, increases your energy, and if you're using this in conjunction with a spiritual practice, it can increase your spiritual connection, whether you're Christian or Buddhist or whatever you practice, just meditation in general. It can help you have a deeper spiritual connection. So number 3, continued intermittent fasting. So cons for intermittent fasting. If you fast for long periods of time, you can be deprived of vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. It may cause fatigue, much like keto. It may cause dehydration, constipation, dizziness. I know if I go for long periods of time without food, I'm going to get sweaty and dizzy, and my blood sugar is going to drop. So it's not for everybody. Like I said, it's not suitable for some health conditions. I don't have a health condition other than I get dizzy and sweaty when I don't eat. And it's not necessarily sustainable for permanent weight loss. Number 4 is the Mediterranean diet, which is super interesting to me. One of the blue zones, which is the highest concentration of centenarians, people over 100, one of the blue zones actually practices Mediterranean diet. And I say practice, this is a lifestyle for them. This is how they grew up. This is how they were raised. And they've always done this. So it's not like they actively started eating this way. This is just the way that they eat. It is considered one of the healthiest ways of eating in the world. And it's based on a lifestyle that was cultivated by ancient customs and dietary patterns that have existed in the Mediterranean region for years, obviously more than 100. Mediterranean diet consists of natural whole foods such as whole grains, vegetables, fruits, meat, fish, nuts, dairy, and pure oils, and excludes processed and refined foods. The Mediterranean diet is different in the fact that it places an emphasis on lifestyle factors, including relationships, pleasure, leisure, physical activity. All of these things help reduce stress. They contribute to physical and mental well-being. These people in the Mediterranean region, they work hard. They have hard physical labor, but at the end of the day or weekends, they go hang out with family. They go have a glass of wine. They enjoy themselves. And this is all a part of their lifestyle. It's not, they don't purposefully like, oh, hey, come over, let's have a glass of wine, and a glass of wine turns into a bottle. This is just a lifestyle where it's expected that you spend time with family and friends and that you have a good time. That is their way of life. It's not like us where it's go, 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 go. Oh, let me pencil you in here. The Mediterranean diet includes an abundance of extra virgin olive oil, seasonal fruits and vegetables, as well as whole, unprocessed grains. Wild fish is highly encouraged, as well as dairy, especially from goats. And meats and saturated fats are included in moderation. It's not the star of the dish, it's kind of like this side note. Kind of like our vegetables are these days, that's how their meats are. And normally they're only consumed on special occasions. Foods that are included on this diet include vegetables, fruits, whole grains, fish, meat, dairy, nuts, and olive oil. And foods that are avoided are processed foods and refined foods. This diet, the pros to this diet include that it's moderate and it's a flexible approach, and it considers life. It takes into consideration that we do have families and we do have friends and we do enjoy other things other than preparing food and working. And they put an emphasis on relationships and pleasure and physical activity. So in this diet it can be a sustainable lifestyle approach, not just a diet. The cons to this particular diet or lifestyle, some people that want to lose weight or become healthier require like more firm rules, guidelines to live and feel their best. And then some people may not have the willpower to moderate their rich processed food intake. They may need the rigidity of rules and regulations. And number 5 is the 90-10 diet, or the integrative nutrition diet. This diet promotes healthy eating, obviously, promotes eating healthy foods most of the time, which is 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time, which is on occasion, you enjoy your treats that you just feel like you can't live without. There is no set plan. It's easy to follow. The food recommendations are fruits, vegetables. It mainly focuses on it focuses on fruits and vegetables, but you can also have sweet potatoes, carrots, onions, these sweeter vegetables to satisfy any sweet cravings that you may have. You can have whole grains, beans. Lots of water is encouraged. The concept of it is to make it simple for people to eat healthy. And it is made to be able to experiment what works for you, what works for your body, what works for your family. Because one person's food can be another person's poison. So what feels good to me may make you sick. So it focuses on fruits, vegetables, lean meats, healthy oils, healthy fats, and then you kind of play around with it and you figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And what doesn't work for you, then leave it out. It also includes lifestyle recommendations, much like the Mediterranean diet, like encouraging home-cooked meals, encouraging physical activity, and encouraging work that is fulfilling. So, we spend a lot of our time at work, and it encourages participating in a job or career that you get fulfillment out of. It also encourages developing a spiritual practice, whatever that looks like for you. It encourages fostering healthy, supportive relationships, whether it's your marriage, your friends, your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, whatever. It encourages those relationships. And it is developed around the fact that when all of these areas are balanced, that the body will heal itself. It encourages you to pay attention to the emotions around food. Do certain foods lead to certain emotions and certain actions like binging? And it also encourages a food journal. So, write down what you eat. How did you feel when you ate it? What happened afterwards? And that will really help you pay attention to how you feel and how your body reacts to certain foods. So, foods that are included on this diet are fruits, vegetables, whole grains, poultry, fish, eggs, beans, dairy, nuts and seeds, and healthy oils. Foods that are avoided: sugar, processed foods, refined grains, trans fats, caffeine, and tobacco. Tell me I can't have my morning coffee and I'm on. Oh, Lord help me. But seriously though, these diets are very similar in the fact that they encourage they encourage vegetables, lean meats, fruits, eggs, nuts, seeds, and healthy oils. And they all require some sort of lifestyle modification that requires a conscious effort, whether it's food timing, whether it's grocery shopping, whether it's cooking at home, meal prepping. It requires a conscious effort from you to make the change. So, after all of that, and discussing the similarities of all of these diets, I don't know if you chose one. If not, I'm kind of in between the Mediterranean and the 90-10. I can't really decide which way I want to go. My kids just want to stay on the processed food diet. I'm trying to wean them off of it. Anybody else got that problem? Raise your hand. Anyway, so all of that to say, you have to make a conscious effort, and I want to know if you are ready to make that change. And if you are, if you're ready to make 2020 the best year ever, y'all send me a message. Comment below if you have any questions about this video. If you're interested in making 2020 a great year for weight loss, lifestyle changes, healthy choices, please send me a message and we'll hop on the phone and talk and see how I can help y'all. Hope everybody's having a great day. I hope you got some great information from this, and we will talk to you soon, or I will talk to you soon. I don't have a mouse in my pocket. I will talk to you soon. Y'all have a great day. Bye.